Here's how to factor a trinomial in the form of x squared plus bx plus c. You'll notice that in each of these examples and in our basic formula here, there is no number, well actually there is a 1 in front of the x squared, but there's not a number such as 2 or 3. This is a real basic trinomial to try to factor. So what we want to look for is two numbers that when I multiply them, I get whatever c is, whatever this number on the end is. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 10, and then the same two numbers have to add up to b, or my coefficient in the middle, which is 7. So I need to think back on my times tables. What two numbers multiply to 10, but then the same two numbers have to add to 7. And what pops into my mind right away is 2 and 5. Doesn't matter if you write 2 and 5 or 5 and 2. And now what we're going to do is put those numbers into parentheses with an x. Since my 2 is positive, it'll be a plus 2. And since my 5 is positive, it'll be a plus 5. So the trinomial x squared plus 7x plus 10 factors into two binomials, x plus 2, x minus 2. And if you need to check this, basically you're going to FOIL and see if you get back where you started. X times x is x squared. My outer, x times 5 is 5x. My inner, 2 times x is 2x. And my last, 2 times 5 is 10. And that turns into x squared plus 7x, combining like terms in the middle, plus 10. So the factored form of my trinomial is x plus 2, x plus 5. Let's try. Here we have x squared minus 12x plus 27. So again, I'm going to be looking for two numbers that multiply to c, which in this case is 27, and then the same two numbers have to add up to b, which is negative 12. And the first two numbers that pop into my mind when I think of 27 are 3 and 9. In fact, I think those are the only other factors of 27 other than 1 and 27. So I'll put a 3 in here and a 9 in here, and that makes my first equation true, but it definitely does not make my second equation true. Then I realize that if I make both the 3 and the 9 negative, negative 3 times negative 9 is a positive 27, negative 3 plus a negative 9 is a negative 12, so those numbers are going to work, and these are going to go directly into the parentheses with x's, and since they're negatives, it'll be x minus 3 and an x minus 9. And I'm all done. That's the factored form of my original trinomial. Again, if you're not sure, you can always check by FOILing, and you should get back to your original answer. And my last example is x squared plus 3x minus 18. And again, I'll be looking for two numbers that multiply to a negative 18, and the same two numbers have to add up to a positive 3. Now 18 has more factors. 18 has factors of 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6, 4 doesn't go in evenly, 5 doesn't go in evenly. So looking at those, do any of those, either adding or subtracting, because we've got a negative in the play here, any of those make you think of 3? Well, I think it's going to be a 3 and a 6. So one of these has to be a 3, and one has to be a 6. And in order to make the first equation true, because 3 times 6 is not negative 18, one of these is going to have to be negative. And it really doesn't matter which one's negative to make the first equation true, but the same one has to be negative in the second equation. So in order to make my second equation true, the 3 has to be negative. And now I'm going to take the negative 3 and the positive 6 and put those directly into parentheses, x minus 3, x plus 6, and it doesn't matter which one I list first. I could have put my x plus 6 first and then my x minus 3. And that's the factored form of x squared plus 3x minus 18. And if you'd like to, you can always check